Jim Caviezel, great actor. Remember him from Passion of the Christ and some other great movies he's been in. Jim Caviezel is a really religious man, and I appreciate that, and is not afraid to acknowledge his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Neither am I. So Jim was on Fox and was given an interview. It was pretty good about his new movie, Infidel, which is spectacular. I have been privileged enough to get a screener copy. We'll try to get Jim on the show. I want to hear him talk about it. But about 3/4 of the way through the interview, Jim Caviezel was asked by Pete Hegseth about a famous speech Ronald Reagan gave about a time for choosing. And Caviezel gave one of the most powerful, I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it, one of the most powerful answers I've heard on TV in a long time. This clip is about 2 minutes. Keep in mind, it's in the interest of time, I cut out the question, but it's Pete Hegseth asking Jim about the crisis we have now and the crisis Reagan highlighted in his speech, a time for choosing. And it doubles down on what I've told everyone listening to my show. This fight's coming to your door soon. It's already there now. You have a time for choosing too. Here's Caviezel on that.
He said that, and he said, now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. But there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson in history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is a specter our well-meaning Christian liberal friends, our priests, bishops, and pastors refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives us no choice between peace and war, only between fight and surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we will have to face the final demand, the final ultimatum. And what then? When Satan has told the people of this world, he knows what our answer is going to be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of his Cold War, and someday when the time is right to deliver his final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because you see, by then we will have been so weakened from within, spiritually, morally, economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better red than dead, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know it and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Ridge have refused to fire the shot heard around the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our beloved dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis did not die in vain. Where then lies the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all, that you and I have the courage to tell our enemies there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which evil must not advance. In the words of Reagan, evil is powerless if the good are unafraid.
Wow. Paul and I were sitting there in our kitchen. She was cooking for the kids. And we both looked at each other like, I couldn't have said that better if I had spent 6 months planning that out in a speech. Folks, this fight's coming for all of you. Caviezel knows it. We all know it. There will be no surrender. You should embrace this fight. I've warned you it's going to knock on your door. It's knocked on mine many times. I got another fight ahead that I'm hoping isn't the one I think it is. But there's a quote I bring up on the show often in moments like this, where I don't want you to be saddened by the fight ahead. I don't want you to fear it. I want you to embrace it. Every generation, as Caviezel said, whether through Moses to Jesus Christ to the revolutionaries at Concord, has had an existential fight that they needed to fight. We have ours too. The light of liberty is about to be extinguished by people who don't give a damn about your economic freedom, your constitutional republic, the health and prosperity of your kids long term. They just don't care. You can't avoid that fight. The author of the book, The Natural, Bernard Malamud, had a fantastic quote in the book. If you read the book, it's in the movie in a different form. But you need to remember this, anyone trying to escape the suffering ahead. Quote, Malamud, we have two lives, the life we learn with and the life we live after that. Suffering is what brings us towards happiness. He's right. If we were happy all the time, you wouldn't know what happiness was. It would just be your state of being. It's the foil of suffering and the fight and the struggle that we're going to win that leads us to real, true, authentic happiness. Caviezel knows that. Those are powerful words I can't recommend highly enough.